We are live now.
Yeah.
Good evening, delegates and all the participants. Thank you for joining. This is Sahiti on behalf of Shield Connect, welcoming you all for today's webinar. Today, we are back with the series Mid-Mocha Meetup Season 1 and Session 12. And today's topic is Unraveling the DNA of Time, the Genetics Behind Aging. So, it's my pleasure to introduce organizer of this webinar, Dr. Ritu Santwani ma'am. Ma'am has done MBBS, MD, FICOG, FIOG, AMRCOG. Ma'am is consultant obstetrician and gynecologist, IVF specialist, founder and CEO of 360 Degrees Healthcare Studio. Ma'am is infertility specialist. Ma'am is also a part of NUHS Singapore, co-founder of MAAM and board member of SWWC. So I welcome you, ma'am, and I hand the session to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sahiti, and thank you, Shield Pharma, for providing the platform for this program from the constantly last 3 years. A warm welcome to my all dear friends who have joined all across the geography. And this lovely roses to welcome my dearest Manjeet madam. Madam, these lovely roses are for you. So, friends, as we all know, the today's topic is very interesting. And being young, being forever young is the dream of everyone. I think all of you agree on this with me. So, now what's the genetics behind that? What's the role of the telomere lengthening? What's the science? So, today we are having an expert with us, Dr. Manjeet Mehta madam, and I'm really grateful to her that in spite of a short notice, she accepted the invitation and she is ready to share her immense experience on this field with us. May I request Sahiti, please, will you please do the honor to introduce
Yes,
the ma'am?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Manjeet Mehta, ma'am. Ma'am is medical geneticist with over 30 years of outstanding work done in human reproductive genetics. Ma'am has many certifications to her credit. Ma'am is certified associate genetic counselor by Board of Genetic Counseling India, certified clinical laboratory geneticist by European Society for Medical Oncology, associate member of Canadian College of Medical Genetics, and technical assessor at NABL for genetics and molecular biology, certified inspector for College of American Pathologist. Ma'am has got many international trainings from Department of Genetic Medicine, North York General Hospital, Toronto, and Department of Genetics from St. George's Hospital, UK, Department of Cardiovascular Genetics from UCL Hospital, London, and ma'am has received numerous awards, including Award of Excellence for Contribution of Genetics in India, Worldwide Achievers Healthcare Excellence Award for Research in Cancer Diagnosis, Women Achievers Award, and Certificate of Excellence by IIFS, Champions of ISAR Award. Ma'am has more than 35 publications and 12 book chapters, 230 national and 18 international presentations, and 28 research projects. So I welcome you, ma'am, and I hand
So,
over the
warm,
session to you.
yeah. Thank you, Sahiti. Once again, warm welcome, Manjeet madam, very near and dear to me. Madam, we all are eagerly waiting to listen you. Post that we can take the questions, whatever we receive on the live and here. Program is going live on the YouTube. Warm welcome.
Um, Thank you very much, Dr. Ritu, for inviting me and suggesting such a unique topic. You know, I have always been really very impressed by all your webinars that you have been conducting, and I follow them very closely. And I love the way you pick up different speakers, different faculty, and different topics. And then everything that's appealing to the audience. So I understand genetics is something which is a niche area, which is you can say a relatively new area. I It has a lot of applications besides the medical reasons of doing these testing. So today in this talk, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the genetics of aging, mainly the skin and complexion and those aspects of aging. So we must have heard of this place called the Fountain of Youth, which is in an archaeological park in Florida, USA. And then it supposedly restores the youth of anyone who drinks its waters or who bathes in its waters. Of course, this is something which is, you can say, mythological, but genetics is a pure science. and with a very solid basis for everything. I'm going to see my own screen. I'll just move this a bit. So, genetics is one of the very important factors that influence human aging, longevity, along with the lifestyle and environment. We all would have definitely heard that lifestyle plays a role in our pace of aging, the environment that we live in, the pollutants that we are exposed to, the food that we eat, all of them, even if you try to control, ultimately it is your genetics, that controls you and all the aspects of your life. So among the genetic factors, there is something known as epigenetics. Epigenetics is the expression of our genes. So we all have certain genes and certain mutations in the genes. Mutations are nothing but changes or variants in our genes, which are quite static and which remain with us lifelong. But then, not having a mutation which causes a certain condition, how the actual gene is expressed is known as epigenetics. Epigenetics plays a huge role in several of our life processes, including aging, which is our topic for today. Environmental factors, as I've already mentioned, it is really very important to keep in mind, when you want to consider aging. There is also another very important aspect which is known as the population specific genetics. So we all know that certain population, their lifespan is much more than that of some other populations. So that is something which definitely we don't have a hold or a control over. But whatever we can detect or diagnose and whatever we can control is what we are going to be talking about today. I'm sure you all would be aware of this condition known as progeria, and it was beautifully brought to light by this movie Pa, featuring the Bachchan father and son duo. It is, we all know, an extremely rare progressive genetic disorder which causes children to age extremely rapidly, starting in their first 2 years of life. And the children with progeria generally they appear healthy at birth, so then there is no way of knowing that this person is affected. And then after 2 years, they just rapidly the age starts progressing. So this is a model for studying the aging associated genetic changes. We all know progeria is caused by a gene defect, and therefore now we have understood that genes play a role in aging. And patients with progeria develop the features of accelerated aging, which is caused by mutations in the genes, which are implicated in genetic stability. So there is these genes which are unstable, and that is the reason why aging happens rapidly. We all would be aware of the anti-aging food pyramid, you know, and this is something which is recommended for the elderly. We can apply it to the calorie intake, and they have defined foods which we could have once a week, twice a week, something that we should have daily, something that we should have frequently. So this is the first step, the way we can start working on these. There are some over-the-counter tests available. I'll come to that a bit later. These are guidelines released by the NIH, National Institute of Health, and it tells about the nutritional aspects of healthy aging. It is important that our biological age and our chronological age should match ideally. In fact, our biological age could be even lesser than the chronological age, so our body is younger than the actual age that we are telling people what our age is. And all this starts from good fruits and vegetables, having healthy oils, liquid vegetable oils, soft margarine, a certain combination of herbs and spices, various other fluids. It's very important to have a high intake of fluids, grains, dairy products, and different sources of protein. All this helps us in healthy aging, as we call it. And this is also some guidelines were released by the NIH. They have given 5 tips for choosing the healthier foods as you age. You eat a variety of foods each day, different. You alternate the fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. It's very important to read the labels on the food. We feel that it has very little sugar, but then you need to understand that per teaspoon that you're picking up of that item, how much of sugar is there in that, how much of fat is there in that. And you should try to pick foods that don't have a lot of sugar, saturated fats, or sodium. Be very aware of, how many calories you need per day, how many calories you're taking in, and the requirement should match the intake. And a few tips to boost your health as you age. It is important to keep moving, try gardening, biking, walking, choose healthy foods which are rich in the nutrients. Manage stress. This is another factor which increases as the age increases. Everybody has various issues, that really stress upon them. And either you talk to somebody, you keep a journal, try yoga, try deep breathing. And then it's good if you pick up a new hobby or a new activity or join a club and go to the doctor regularly. Just get yourself checked properly to ensure everything is right and keep good connect with family and friends. It really helps one remain young for a longer time. Now, coming to the genetics behind the biological aging, there are several genes which are implicated in this entire process. I will not go into the details of naming the genes and what their role is, and I'll just try to bring it in a language that would be appealing to all of you, and you'll be able to identify with it all the various conditions which the genes control. So, very important aspect is the skin care. In aging, the first thing that reflects your age is your skin. Of course, there are the age onset diseases, hypertension and diabetes and things like that. But then I've kept aside the medical part of things, and I'm just focusing on the aging aspects and skin care. So, skin barrier we know is responsible for maintaining the water content of the skin, and it prevents any kind of a bacteria to enter in the skin and to damage the skin. If the skin barrier is damaged, the skin will be prone to dryness, inflammation, and then the repair function will also be lowered. So there are various aspects which we need to look into, and this is one of them. Another very important one is moisture. So we all know that the skin is the largest organ of our body. It requires adequate hydration to be able to perform its best. It's very important to keep it properly moisturized, and then because of that, the aging can be slowed down. Coming to the sensitivity, dermal sensitivity, there are some people who have sensitive skin, more prone to skin reactions, pustules, skin bumps, skin erosion, skin flushing. Genetic factors, age, race, ethnicity, environmental factors, all of them play a role in causing skin reactions. And in severe cases, individual will have conditions like eczema, allergic contact dermatitis, and things like that. Then anti-photo aging is another aspect which we need to look into. So photo aging means the premature aging of the skin. This is caused by repeated exposure to UV radiation. And the most visible part of this photoaging, it appears on the face, neck, upper chest, and back, where the part which is exposed to the sun for a significant period of time. And then as a result, people develop spider veins, pigmented spots. There is loss of skin tone, wrinkles, and deep creases. Coming to the next one, which is anti-tanning. Now, we are all aware about melanin. It is the brown pigment that causes tanning. And in the presence of UV rays, the skin tans more. These UV rays penetrate the epidermis layers and then they trigger an increased production or secretion of melanin. So it is important to consider all these factors, when you're going out in the sun. Freckles are also present and it is also genetic. You would have seen people with a lot of freckles on their face. There are hyperpigmented brown spots. These result from the increased production of melanin in the skin. So there are certain localized areas where there is an increased production of melanin, mostly on the face, neck, thorax, and the arms. These freckles appear more frequently in people who are light skinned or fair people, and they have difficulty in tanning and getting sunburn easily. Also, a very important factor which we should keep in mind in this is that a lot of exposure to sunlight could lead to skin cancers. I mean, the likelihood for such people is higher. So we have to keep that in mind. And then the antioxidants. I mean, there's a lot going on all over about oxidative stress and antioxidants. The pollution levels are at an all-time high. People are going in for unhealthy diet, fast food, junk food, smoking is becoming more common. All this is, affecting what is happening inside our body and to our skin. If all this is not kept under control, the signs of skin aging will start to happen. So we all know that antioxidants are substances that slow down the damage that is caused by oxidative stress. So the greater the ability of your body to retain antioxidants, the better they are in counterattacking the damaged cells. So it's really very important to keep this factor in mind and ensure appropriate antioxidation. Elasticity of skin. So we know that the skin is the most intuitive organ and it responds to body aging. After 25 years old, the skin elasticity decreases, which is mainly due to the destruction of its own collagen by the external environment. Now, the speed of the collagen synthesis, it cannot catch up with the speed of collagen degradation. That leads to wrinkles and loss of elasticity of the skin. And so we come to this point about the wrinkles. We all know that glycation occurs when the body proteins react with the sugar, forming a substance in the body called AGs. And while glycation is a normal process, the rate of glycation is significantly increased by genetic factors, diet, and lifestyle. This glycation causes the tissues to become harder, thicker, and less pliable. This ultimately results in wrinkles, skin thickening, and loss of firmness of the skin, all of which gives an impression of a increased age for a person. Acne, although we teenagers at teenage, there is typically a breakout due to hormonal changes, but some people continue to have it even in later ages. It mainly includes whiteheads, blackheads, pimples, pustules, and nodules. And this is caused due to an excessive production of androgens in oil secretion. These increase the tendency of a person to get acne. And then cellulitis. So we all know that cellulite is an uneven skin appearance due to irregular fibrous tissues and subcutaneous fat accumulation. It's sometimes even named as the orange peel. So factors causing cellulite are again genetic predisposition, hormonal factors, circulatory system, and weight fluctuations. So it's important, to stay hydrated, to have right kind of a food, and to take good care of your skin and health. And then coming to varicose veins. Varicose veins are superficial veins which become large and twisted and prominent and swollen. And then spider veins are a milder version of it. Varicose veins usually appear in the legs. They are caused by prolonged periods of standing and walking, and then sometimes it may lead to a venous thrombosis. So now that we know that these are the factors, that we need to look into, it is very important, to take care of all of these factors. And first of all, before we should know what we are supposed to do, and we should know exactly where we stand. That is where this genetics comes in, you know. And genetic factors can tell you your propensity or your tendency to develop most of these conditions. Crow's feet is very commonly seen in people. It is, they develop over time because of a tiny muscle contractions that happen every time you make a facial expression. So important part, to avoid this is to wear polarized sunglasses and keep the eye area protected with big sun blocking shades. Use moisturizers, eye creams with collagen and antioxidants, and quit smoking for those who are smoking because that makes wrinkles appear sooner, And then there is a nice mask which has been suggested by beating two egg whites, making it frothy, and add 5 drops of vitamin E oil. This removes the crow's feet to a greater extent. Coming to the laxicity of the eyes. So, eyelid laxicity is most commonly caused due to aging skin. So, as a person ages, the body produces less collagen and it loses its elasticity. This weakens the skin tissue, making it unable to support the weight of the eyelid skin. So, it's called a heavy eyelid kind of a syndrome. So once again, it's important to cover your eyes from the UV of the sun, use moisturizers and eye creams, and then this cucumber slices on the eyes. It really helps because cucumber contains ascorbic acid and vitamin C. And there is this other option that has been given is about the chamomile tea bags mask. You first uh, put it in hot water to steep it, and then you chill it, and then you put it on your eye. So these have anti-inflammatory properties. So they will help take care of this condition. So caffeine, I'm sure we all know, is the most common stimulant which we are ingesting on a regular basis. Caffeine has a very important influence on collagen production. And there is this gene called CYP1A2, which has the task to identify and degrade caffeine. Now, if this gene does not function correctly, caffeine will interfere with the collagen production. So it's very important to limit the caffeine consumption. We need to understand each drink of us contains how much of caffeine. We know it's present in all teas, all forms of teas, all forms of coffee, all colas, chocolates. So we need to understand where there is a high level of caffeine contained in which drink and restrict it. Again, vitamin C will also help if applied locally because it promotes the production of new collagen. And important, as I said, to check the ingredients, even herbal teas, energy drinks, medicine. So, we need to check the labels and read it properly to see how much of caffeine it contains. Photoaging is a very important phenomenon. It is the premature aging of the skin which is caused by repeated exposure to ultraviolet radiation. And primarily, of course, from the sun, but even there are some artificial other UV sources. And this damaging effect of these UV rays, they alter the normal skin structures. All of these activities of ours are, controlled by our genes. And then a gene defect can prolong the activity in a particular person. So it is important to choose a water resistant sunscreen with an SPF of 30 or more. Staying hydrated protects the skin cells from damage, including those that are caused by environmental factors. And there are certain creams which contain arbutin, kojic acid, licorice extract, vitamin C, E, and they can suppress the signs of photoaging. Of course, a banana mask, you all must have heard about it. You mash a banana and add some aloe vera gel in it. It works very well to prevent fine lines and wrinkles. Keeping the skin hydrated, I've already touched upon. It is extremely important to keep the skin hydrated. And a hydrated skin will have a smooth radiance and an even tone. So we should ensure our daily intake of fluids in areas where there is a low atmospheric humidity. We could consider using a humidifier. And again, skincare products, we should see that, they contain substances like glycerin, urea, ceramides to ensure that the skin is well hydrated. A honey mask works beautifully, and just keep it for a while and then you wash it off. It moisturizes the skin. Then coming to the skin inflammatory response. So inflammation, we all know, is a signal from the body to begin healing any trauma or damage. When the skin becomes chronically inflamed, the process becomes destructive and the skin starts showing signs of aging, lack of luster, pigmentation lines, and wrinkles. So, a few tips to avoid hot showers, which strips the skin of the protective oils and it leaves the skin more prone to irritation. Load up on anti inflammatory foods, fruits, dark green vegetables, turmeric, flaxseed, ginger, vitamin C. All this will really help in the inflammatory response. And then also all your personal care, hair care, dyes, everything, read the list of ingredients very carefully to see if there is anything else that's causing any kind of trauma to it. Here they've suggested an aloe vera, honey, and cinnamon face mask, which can help control and reduce the acne causing bacteria. Wrinkles is something which everybody faces after a certain age, and then wrinkles have been, deciphered in various different ways because ultimately they are the folds of the skin. And as the person ages, the skin produces less of the proteins, collagen, and elastin, and it makes the skin thinner and less resistant to damage. So it's important once again to use a good sunscreen when going out, wear protective clothing, and pack dry after bathing to allow some moisture to remain in the skin, rather than rubbing harshly. And then also moisturize the skin with a product that fits a particular skin type. There is a papaya mask, which is a very simple homemade option, which really helps against wrinkles and it makes your skin look radiant and younger looking. And then lastly, varicose veins, like I've already mentioned. And varicose veins are swollen veins, enlarged veins, prominent veins. Usually they occur on the legs and the feet. They are blue or dark purple, twisted in appearance. They are genetically inherited. There is no doubt about that. But they can also develop due to obesity or due to standing for really long periods. So it's important to avoid standing or sitting for a very long period. Try to move around every 30 minutes. Don't wear very tight clothes around the waist, groin, or thighs because these can make the varicose veins even worse. And foods which are rich in flavonoids, they can keep the veins strong. So it's good to include such foods in your daily diet. Now, the reason why I've gone through all these conditions and, this is the kind of a report that is typically generated. There are genetic tests which are available to test for this and several other conditions, and it tells you about a lot of health conditions also. It tells you about your fitness, it tells you about your food and eating habits, and it can help you take steps to mitigate the risk factors, to delay age related conditions. It can give you information on the predisposition for aging, including your skin health, which I've described in detail right now, cardiovascular health, metabolic function, all of them. So, a lot of you know, aspects are shared in the report, including a person's calcium needs, their zinc needs, their obesity risk. This is purely based on genetics. Now, if I talk about genetics only, I'll be just telling you the names of the genes and what they do. That is the reason why, we make the report extremely colorful and interactive. There are many of these companies offering these tests, and it gives you a predisposition to several medical conditions, and also these aging and nutritional and fitness conditions, like your tendency of a person to have an injury, hamstring injury, and their VO2 max, their oxidative stress, and those are the other things. So this is the way, the kind of conditions that are all controlled by genes. They are all present in you. Once you come to know about what the genes are and what the variations in the genes are, it can help you, accordingly change maybe your diet, your lifestyle. You have a tendency to a particular condition, and Dr. Ritu mentioned about the telomeric length, which is another study which is done. We just see the telomeric length and predict the biological age with that. And then we compare it with the chronological age. And then if we see there's a huge delta between the two, the person is advised again based on their nutritive capacity and their genetics. There are slight changes and tweaks in the lifestyle, in the nutrition, in the diet. And then again, maybe after 3 months, they could repeat the test and see the telomeric length once again. So, besides the skin care and fitness and nutrition, just sharing with you, there are a whole lot of traits, personality traits of the person. I don't know if you can read this. So some people, they want an instant gratification. Some people have a very strong resilience. Some people have a very high cognitive ability. So all of this we are aware, no, it is controlled by the genes. So a lot of information can be, acquired from doing this test, and it gives us good advice on how to go about any of the conditions which we are at a high risk of. So yeah, I just wanted to end here saying unlock your genetic, your predisposition, and understand what your genes are, what the potential is, and then we can have a stress-free tomorrow. Because, see, we are all aware that genetics has advanced extremely rapidly in the last 3 to 5 years. And today we understand that it controls a whole lot of our body functions. It's not only the inherited conditions or the acquired conditions, the cancers, but even the smaller traits and things like that. Everything is written in our blueprint, that is our genome. So getting that information empowers us, and it helps us build a healthy lifestyle. I think that's all from my end. So,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Such a elaborative presentation. You tried to cover each and everything. So, friends, if there are any questions, you please feel free to write in the chat box. Ma'am, there is one question from my side. As you have covered each and everything, as we all know that lot of patients are coming to us that, madam, which product, skincare product is good, which is not good. So, is it any role of the genetic testing for that? If yes, then how? Please explain us about that.
yeah, so this is a very relevant question, and it's actually a burning issue with most of the people, and so much so that people feel that they try to suggest to others. If one person has got a good results using one product, and then they'll say, "You forget everything else, you take this because it worked on me, it's fantastic." Unfortunately, that is not at all the way it works. So the question that you asked, no, is absolutely right. Everything, no, is controlled by our genes. All the various conditions which I covered in the individual slides, no, these are some of the conditions that we look at, and the kind of a report that is given in the genetic test. It tells you what your genes for that condition are like, whether there is any variation, whether they are normal, the way, both are wild type, both the alleles are wild type. So accordingly, you will need to give them the advice. Now, some people may absorb ascorbic acid very slowly. Some people are rapid metabolizers. So accordingly, we have to taper the doses. I mean, this applies for a whole lot of medical conditions, and there is a huge area known as pharmacogenomics, and medicines that are given for hypertension, for diabetes, for even statins, for cholesterol, all of it, it's controlled by the genes. So similarly, even when people come to you for any facial products or any of this, if we know their skin type, and knowing their skin type is not by a morphology or by a external test or an analysis, it's all in the genes. So if we understand their genotype, and you know what is going to work for them, then you will be able to give them the best and appropriate treatment, that is specific and that is customized for them. A similar thing is done in the fitness scenario. There are reputed gyms, and when you go there and you try to enroll, now they will first request you to do a genetic test done. And many of them have partnered with genetic labs, and they prepare their customized panel of tests, you know. And these tests typically are, as I said, to understand that whether weights will work for you or cardio will work for you. Whether your what is your VO2 max? What is your tendency to get a ligament tear? What is your tendency to gain weight after weight loss? They call it the yo-yo effect. So that is also all in the genes. So they will ask you to undergo this test. They will understand your genotype, and then accordingly they will put you on a fitness regime, which suits you, which is customized, and which is like highly specific for you. So it really works very well for you. There are a few dermatologists and skincare clinics who also follow a similar model. You know, they try to put in their own combination of tests depending on what conditions they are treating. Whether it's dermatitis or it's acne or wrinkles, and then they do the appropriate genetic test, because it no more is one size fits all. I mean, there was a time where something used to work for many people, but right now, when you get it specific as per your own genotype, then it's a sure shot. It's definitely going to work for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You have very elaborately you have explained. This solves our question for that also, because so many times once the patient comes along with the her sister or her cousin comes, ma'am कुछ तो लिख दीजिए क्या इसी दवाई से दोनों का काम हो जाएगा. This product will work for all of us. So thank you so much for giving such a nice explanation.
Yeah, similarly,
Meanwhile,
even in the clinical scenario, no, everybody's
yeah,
hormones levels are different, everybody's enzymes
yeah,
are
yeah,
different,
yeah,
and you need to do their basic chemistries before you prescribe any medicines for them, you know. If
true,
two
true.
people have dysfunctional bleeding, it could be for different
Yeah,
reasons. If two people
yeah,
have
yeah,
anemia, it could be for different
yeah,
reasons.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we need to understand what.
Yeah, I always try to convince them by saying there is no something nothing like the tailor-made protocol for each and every patient. We have to judge, and accordingly we have to give the medications. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, we have received the appreciation. One comment from Renu madam, Dr. Renu Rawal, a very roaring practitioner from Kanpur. Renu madam, welcome. Renu madam has written a very informative lecture. I am able to see some of my friends across the geography. Hi, Dr. Samuel. He joins all the way from Africa. Hi, Dr. Samuel. How are you? Rest. If Niti ji also have able to see. So many friends have joined. Some from the Kanpur. Rashmi has also joined from Noida. Okay.
Wow,
So
that's
many.
really amazing. And I really appreciate the kind of work that you're doing, Dr. Ritu. It
No,
is,
no, ma'am.
you
No,
know,
no. Thank
nahi, you're really doing amazing work. And to, you know, to carry this message on various topics to people which are across the globe, it's not even in just one country. It is something really amazing. And for all the people, you know, who have actually taken out the time and you know, so in India, it's already late night, and other countries, I can understand why you want this time because it's, you know, it's acceptable to various different time zones. So it's
Yeah.
really appreciative, you know, that people have actually, you know, logged in and they've taken the pain to come and do it. And you, Dr. Ritu, are doing an amazing work.
Ma'am,
Really, I really
thank you, ma'am.
appreciate.
Meanwhile, we receive the questions. I will request Sahiti, please show the certificate of appreciation for the madam.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Madam,
Oh,
this is a
that's so
small
sweet.
token. This is a small token certificate of appreciation presented to Dr. Manjeet Mehta madam for contributing as a distinguished speaker for today's session, that is 18 September 2024. Madam, really, we are grateful to you for clarifying so many doubts. So, friends, if there are any questions we can take, because I am able to see only the appreciations. नहीं क्वेश्चंस तो मुझे कुछ नहीं दिख रहे हैं मैम. हाँ.
No, I try to actually, you know, make it a little
Yeah.
happier because, you know, if I start talking genetics, then people will start logging off. And see, genetics, as I told you in the beginning, no, it has entered each and every field of our practice. You know, I this time deliberately stayed away from the typical medical fields, and I took something that is what we call as consumer genetics. But then all of
Okay.
you medical practitioners do get people having these kinds of queries, you know, about aging and skin and things like that. And genetics plays a role in all of these aspects. So that is the reason why, you know, I tried to keep it on the lighter side. I did not include any genes and gene names and mutations and all those pathways. Just so that you know you understand that there is this is what we get out of
No,
any
no,
kind of a
that is
gene
very,
mutation.
very much informative, and you tried to cover each and everything. So that's very important. What's the remedies we have to give? So really, really, we are thankful to you. So I think with this we will wind up as already the time is over. The session was so interesting that everybody is stuck. So thank you once again, ma'am, for enlightening all of us. So with this, friends, we are winding up for today. For the next week, either 24th, we will. Yes, Dr. Indira, you can ask the question. Anyone who
Yes,
is having
ma'am.
the question.
I just wanted to ask if the age of the children also depends on the age of the parents they have attained.
Absolutely. At the age at which the child, the parental age, no?
Yes, and
Like
the
the yeah,
texture
maternal
of
and
the
paternal
skin
age.
and skin color and so many things maybe if they are genetically related. So, matlab,
Bilkul,
the
bilkul. Absolutely. And that is the reason why, you know, we encourage people to have an early pregnancy, finish off your reproductive activities. And people say, "Ghumna hai, we want to spend time with our husband there." So you after these 3, 5 years, once the child is on their own, you can spend ample time with your spouses. So, you know, I mean, the reproductive activities, the earlier you do it, the better. definitely. There are, it's not only the skin, it's a whole lot of medical conditions also, that advanced maternal or advanced paternal age are associated.
At times, history repeats itself.
बिल्कुल सही बोले
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah. Indra ma'am, from where you have joined? And thank you for joining.
I'm from Saharanpur, ma'am. I'm a practicing gynecologist at Saharanpur.
Okay, madam. Thank you for joining. Yeah, ma'am,
Thank
we
you
have
so much.
received. Yeah,
Once
ma'am,
you
we
have come to Saharanpur, I
yes,
suppose.
yes, ma'am. Pre-corona, I visited for the Saharanpur. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you for joining.
I remembered your name, and when you put it in the FICOG group, so I just joined.
Okay, so nice of you. Thank you for
Thank
joining,
you.
ma'am. Keep on
Thank you,
joining,
ma'am.
ma'am. I am doing every week the informative webinar series. Please keep on joining. Yeah. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
will.
Madam,
everybody.
yeah, ma'am, there's 2-3 more appreciation comments we have received. So let me take the name. Neeti ji has Dr. Neeti Sehgal, a very busy practitioner from Kanpur. She's also writing, thank you so much for such an informative lecture. Dr. Pratima Singh has joined also. She is in the, thank you, madam, for very informative lecture. Dr. Pratima, from where you have joined? Okay.
Ma'am,
Okay.
from Mauna Bhanjan,
From?
Mau, UP.
Wow, UP. Okay. Thank you for joining. Yeah.
Madam,
So
good
I
evening. Dr. Uma here from Hyderabad.
Dr.
sorry.
Uma.
I'm Dr.
Yeah.
Uma from Hyderabad.
Okay.
Madam, tell us the best of the best antioxidant, which is useful for all the conditions like wrinkles, any other thing, all the other things which you are telling. See, all the papaya peel, honey peel, all those things will be time taking now, madam. So, is there anything which is with one capsule or something like that will do better?
Go to the fountain of youth in Florida.
So,
Uma ma'am, now we have to take some of the other things, not from the one capsule, because one is providing us one thing, other thing is providing other thing. So at least 3-4 type of antioxidants we have to take. Yeah.
nowadays we have many antioxidants it's combined. The melatonin, does it help, madam? Melatonin?
Yeah, melatonin definitely. No?
Definitely.
It
CoQ
has its
enzyme
role.
and CoQ,
Yeah.
coenzyme
And then for
Q10.
antioxidants, instead of supplements, directly putting anyone on supplements, you can tell them, they're all the berries, like blueberry, cranberry, blackberry, they all are, they have high amounts of antioxidants, And then
Yeah.
pomegranates, cherry, kiwis, grapes, all the citrus foods also have good antioxidants. Then you take the whole grains, you take nuts, you take
Yeah.
seeds. उनको
Yeah.
अच्छा पौष्टिक diet दो, and vitamin C, vitamin E, zinc. Coconut water has a lot of antioxidants. And then, put them on a proper diet, put them on a lot of fluid. That itself
But,
will help them a lot.
but above all is the genetic or epigenetics. Sometimes can't help it. The genetic predispositions which we are more prone for. Right, so madam? Is it correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
And we have received one more comment from Dr. Anuradha Palkar. She is also writing, thank you for a great lecture. Dr. Anuradha is from Aurangabad, if I am not mistaking her. So, yeah.
That's very nice to hear.
Yes. Dr. Samuel, are you there? Always he asks the question. Today is not asking any question, Dr. Samuel.
Yeah.
Okay. With this, we will wind up for today. Thank you once
Thank
again.
you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
right. Yeah, good night.